Video is intended for those that have unfortunately received a procedural fairness letter in their spousal sponsorship or common law application, and in which letter, particularly coming from Case Processing Center in Mississuaga, IRCC is saying that because you did not declare your spouse at the time that you became a permanent resident, we are not going to consider her as a member of the family class. So if you are responding to this kind of a procedural fairness letter, you be very mindful with the fact that whatever your CRS score was when you become a permanent resident is not a factor to be considered while responding to this PFL. ISCC is not trying to understand what your CRS was, and therefore whether inclusion and the exclusion of your spouse would have resulted in a different CRS. That is not a criteria here. This is a major missing link here. What IRCC is trying to see is that whether your spouse was admissible and whether a declaration or non-declaration of your spouse would have changed your admissibility criteria. For example, if your spouse is criminally inadmissible to Canada, and if you would have declared your spouse when you became a peer, you would have become criminally inadmissible as well. In other words, government would not have given you a permanent residency. So this is the criteria here, and this is where IRCC says that the onus lies on you to prove that an immigrant visa will be issued to your spouse or your partner, right? So therefore, do not argue on the fact that well the CRS would have been the same or whatever, or that it was not a CRS centric application. Let's say it was a tier to peer application, or let's say it was an Atlantic immigration pilot kind of an application. That is not a material consideration. Understand what IRCC is looking for and please respond to it accordingly. For professional assistance, more than welcome to visit nuvonation.ca, book a session, we can go